Welcome, everyone. Congratulations on your interest in the CUNY Baccalaureate for Unique and Interdisciplinary Studies, where you can create your own major across CUNY. It's a small program, so you get individual attention, but you also get to access to all the resources at CUNY. And all of our students are transfer students. So, what is it? It's over 50 years old, known as the CUNY BA, allows students to build a major in almost anything, as long as you don't need it for licensure or as long as it's not already offered at your campus. You take courses across CUNY or at your home campus to build your major called a concentration. And I think of it a little bit like a box of Legos. You can take those blocks and make the picture on that box, or you can take those same blocks and build something unique. Except that those blocks are courses across CUNY where you build your own unique major. It's really a chance to take advantage of all that CUNY has to offer. Thousands of courses, award-winning faculty, special access for CUNY BA students to graduate programs and exclusive scholarships, all kinds of wonderful reasons that we're going to talk about today. In this session, I'm going to explain how it works. You're going to speak to a current student who had transferred from BMCC and ask him questions. And I'm going to explain the next steps in the application process. Ask that you hold your questions for now. We're going to take them all together at a Q&A at the end. But first, let's have you introduce yourselves in the chat. If you can kindly put your name, your academic interests, if you know, and your professional goals, if you know, I want to be a lawyer, I want to be mayor, put those in the chat, and we're going to introduce ourselves while you're doing that. So again, your name, academic interests. I am Jody Clark Weissman. I prefer students call me Jody, but if you're formal, you can call me Dr. Clark Weissman. I use both last names.
I'm Peter Altman. I'm the admissions coordinator for the program.
As I mentioned, we've been around since 1971. We are an accredited program, and even though the nickname of the program is the CUNY BA, you can actually create a BS, that is a Bachelor of Science, or a BA, a Bachelor of Arts. And what we call your major is a concentration. You can do a single major or a dual major, a single concentration or a dual concentration. Students in the program say that they really appreciate the opportunity to build a meaningful education that interests them, that gives them flexibility, and really to be innovative, creating majors that don't exist yet. For example, we worked with a student 10 years ago who was interested in environmental justice, and that wasn't a thing yet at that time. And so she was really on the forefront of that opportunity. You also have the opportunity to build into your major some high impact experiences that we know make a big difference in the success of students. Things like doing undergraduate research, study abroad, or getting real world experience in an internship. And we have a constellation of support for you where we support you academically and professionally and even financially. Even though we're a small program, last year we gave over $340,000 in scholarships exclusively to CUNY BA students, including money for tuition and college costs, for study abroad, unpaid internships, and for undergraduate research. So there's lots of benefits. You'd have an assigned academic advisor. You would eventually work with a faculty mentor. We have community activities like workshops that help you do the things that you need to do. And again, as I mentioned, exclusive access to scholarships. If you want to know about competitiveness with this degree in the job market, CUNY BA students have gone on to rewarding careers, doctors and lawyers, writers, producers, and filmmakers, government leaders and college faculty, nonprofit managers, founders, religious leaders, entrepreneurs, consultants, change makers. And that's not even including the awards they've won, Fulbrights, Emmys, a more recent Sundance Award. We have best-selling authors and historians among our midst. So you'd be in good company with over 8,000 alums. And some of the jobs that students have been offered after graduation have been in the financial sector or technology. All of these companies, students have been offered jobs in creative industries, in healthcare, in government, and in other areas as well. In addition, students from the program have gotten into really impressive graduate programs, including Ivy Leagues and the CUNY Graduate Center. Why? Why do employers love CUNY BA students? They really value the interdisciplinary education that you take courses from different disciplines, and they really are impressed by people who create their own major. It shows motivation and success and creativity and a deep curiosity, all things that we know that make students successful. So, what can you do? What's possible? Pretty much anything except for those leading to licensure, such as architecture or nursing. And as I go along, I would encourage you to just jot down some ideas of things that you're interested in, and we can talk about that. So lots of different areas. So some popular areas are technology. We've had students create majors around artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, game design, around business, things like entrepreneurship or an industry-specific area. Students who've done um, concentrations around social justice, race, class, gender, ability studies, or an issue-based area. And you can see our examples of what students have done on our website. I'll show you how to find that in a little bit later. But the arts is also a popular area. We've had students do things like museum studies and artivism. In sciences, interdisciplinary things like neurobiology, sustainability, public health, and in storytelling, digital narratives and entrepreneurial storytelling. So you can do just about anything. The problem sometimes though is figuring out what you want to do just because there are so many options, but that's part of the process and we help you with that. We're also going to connect you to opportunities. And I'm not going to go into this now, but we call it the passport of opportunities. But really, academics is just the beginning of being a competitive person in the marketplace. And we help you round it out with undergraduate research, study abroad, encourage you to get involved in clubs and activities. And we have our own leadership activities in the program, as well as work and internship. These are all things I wish I had known when I was an undergraduate student. So who joins? I heard a graduating student in the program explain it as it's good for people with very specific interests, but it's also great for people with lots of interests who want to combine different disciplines into something unique. So I encourage you to think about your personal and professional goals and how you could build a major to support those goals. But at this point, let me ask Royce. Royce, um, why did you join? What was your process like?
Yeah, so I actually was told about CUNY BA from a friend of mine that was in a class that I had while I was at BMCC. And the way she phrased it was, I'm not sure what school you plan on going to after BMCC, but I heard about this really cool program that allows you to take classes at essentially all of the campuses. And I was like, okay, that's kind of vague. And she was like, I don't know a ton about it, but you should look it up. And she was like, I heard it's called like CUNY BA or something like that. And I was like, okay. So so I at the time I was basically like a liberal arts major. And I was about to graduate and I knew that I was interested in a few different things. I had a passion for the arts, a passion for acting, a passion, for journalism. And I was hoping that somewhere in the universe there was a place where I could essentially do it all, and there is. And so I went to the CUNY BA's website, and I watched a short video where a young man was basically saying, I looked at all of these matriculated programs and none of them really fit who I was. And so I was looking for a place where I could kind of create my own program and make the most out of my own experience and kind of travel my own journey. And I was like, that's exactly what I'm looking for. And CUNY BA allowed me to do that.
Great. Thank you for that, Royce. I'm going to bring Royce back to talk a little bit more later, and you're going to get a chance to ask him some specific questions from the student expert point of view. But let's talk some of the bare bones, which is eligibility. You need a minimum of a 2.8 GPA and to have completed at least 12 credits. You will eventually need to be enrolled in a CUNY 4-year senior college program. And the other thing that you're going to need when you apply is a workable plan of courses that you would take with your personal statement that helps explain it. So as long as you've met these eligibility and you all you need is a workable plan, and we will help you with that. You can send us rough drafts. You're going to meet Flora, who can help coach you in a one-on-one session. We like to think of it as less a formal application to the program and more like a request to join the program. So if you take our feedback, you can get in. How it works, it's a little bit like being a dual citizen. So you'll have your home campus, your 4-year campus that you're going to transfer to, where you do your services like financial aid, housing, clubs. But then you'll also have CUNY BA, who is going to issue your degree, and you're going to have an advisor there. And we're going to help you e-permit, which is how you take courses at other CUNY campuses. So, of your minimum of 120 credits to get a bachelor's degree, your 4-year degree, we accept up to 90 credits of transfer credit. And of those 90 credits, 68 can be from a 2-year community college. And you enjoy all the advantages of the CUNY Pathways transfer. But you do have to complete at least 30 credits while in the CUNY BA program, which will take you then to your minimum of 120 credits for your bachelor's. So when you apply, you're going to do 2 applications. You're going to apply with the CUNY transfer application to transfer to a CUNY 4-year senior college, and you can apply for multiple in that application, as you may know already. And you can apply at the same time for CUNY BA if you want, and it's a free application. Or you can apply first to your CUNY transfer application and then apply for CUNY BA. You can technically apply before you apply to your 4-year school, but you'd be officially accepted as a CUNY BA student once you're accepted and actually enrolled at your senior or 4-year college. So if you don't know which are the CUNY senior colleges, I just encourage you to Google CUNY senior colleges and you'll get a list of the schools that are there. Now let's talk some strategies about building your concentration. It's not overly diffuse, not overly broad, and meaning it's not just a collection of random courses that interest you. It does need to have a concept, a driving outline, and we have some guidelines to help you build an academic program of study that's appropriate. I'm not going to lie. Excuse me, it's more work for you to pick your classes and design a coherent major, but it's really, really worth it. So to give you some ideas of some framing concepts, you can specialize with a major. So for example, as we had a student in psychology interested in cross-cultural psychology, which is already a specialization, and they specialized even more in cross-cultural data analytics. You could take an English major and then just focus on African American literature of the 20th century. We've had students do something like computational astrophysics as a way of specializing, or animal behavior. Um, or becoming a filmmaker, you may want to have some sort of specialization within film, like production or music or sound, or a genre of film. Uh, we have students who do create a concentration around problem solving or asking a big question. So in this example, a student did public health for underserved populations. You give it your own title. And they brought in public health, psychology, sociology, different kinds of courses. Excuse me. Some other examples of sort of a problem-solving approach is wildlife conservation or political behavior and analysis, restorative justice, equity in the arts. These are all concentrations that students have created previously. Or a third option that I've seen students do is to do something that's skills focused and maybe career focused, like documentary film production or game design. They've specialized in character development or the story aspect or the music, health and exercise science, strategic project management, financial technology, digital design. Again, so many options of things you can do. I will give you a quick tip. We are going to have a video on our website about how to create your major, but I'll give you two resources to help. And one is the Occupational Outlook Handbook on the Bureau of Labor Statistics.gov website, which will give you data on all different kinds of careers, what's popular, what kind of education you need, really thorough information. It's either clustered or you can do a search. And then on our page, on our prospective students page on the CUNY BA, under the application tab, you see a section called Proposing Your Major, and you can see this pull down list, alphabetical, and you can click down and see what kinds of courses students have put together with different titles. So just to give you some examples, oops, it's not showing you. All right, I'll give you a few examples in a little bit. Let me tell you about the basic rules. You're going to need 8 courses for your concentration, or if you're doing dual concentration, you need a minimum of 6 courses. They must be intermediate or advanced courses, not introductory, not from a community college. Those will be your prerequisites and fill out your electives. They should be from different disciplines, and again, it should be from a major that's not available at your home campus. You give it a title that reflects the actual courses that you're taking. So if you were wanting international business, you're not just going to take upper level business courses with one international business class and call it international business. That's a regular business major. You could build in more international business classes or add global political economy or advanced language classes, depending on your interests, graduate courses, to create a major in international business. So you're asking, how do I create a major with only 8 courses? Well, because we're only looking at your uppermost classes in your plan, we know that you're going to be completing all those prerequisites in order to get there. And often those are built into a traditional major. Here's the example in CUNY BA, you have more electives and prerequisites where those prerequisites fill in as part of your requirements. And you are required to complete your prerequisites. And here are some samples of concentration students have created. Here's a student who did bioinformatics, where they took bioinformatics courses plus chemistry, biology, computer science, some data-focused courses. Here's a student who did counterterrorism and international relations. And you can see here they took a lot of their courses at a single campus at John Jay and only one course from Hunter. Here's documentary film production, where they put film, media, and journalism courses together. Health and exercise science, where they've included exercise science courses, but health and psychology classes as well. And one last example, again, just to give you a taste of what you can do, strategic project management that has project management courses, operations management, supply chain, organizational behavior, and an AI class. So some really creative things that people have done. But now I'd like to throw it back to Royce. You're already a reporter, our man on the street, to tell us a little bit about how you created your concentration. Oh, you're muted.
Right. Thank you. I really wanted to focus on basically the 2 things that I was the most interested in, and I kept them kind of broad. So I knew that I had some acting experience from doing like musical theater and industrial work and stuff like that in the past, and I wanted to continue with acting, but I didn't want to just focus on acting. I knew that I wanted to incorporate something else that I was interested in, and I started off at BMCC, then I started taking some classes at Hunter. And again, a lot of the matriculated programs required for me to focus on essentially kind of one thing. So I would have to choose a major and then possibly choose a minor, and journalism really didn't fit that. So with CUNY BA, I'm now able, for instance, I'm taking an acting workshop is one of my courses, but then I'm also taking reporting and writing and videography for journalists. So I'm in one semester able to do take classes in the 2 the things that I love the most. It's really helpful also because it's allowing me to see how they work with each other and how acting is done while you're on camera, and then how journalism and telling stories and doing research, and having kind of a beginning, middle, and end when you're telling a story or writing a report also translates to acting. And it's great to be doing them at the same time instead of focusing more on one and maybe less on the other. I'm focusing on them equally, which is really exciting. And I also just want to say that I also attended a session like this while I was interested in CUNY BA. And it did, I don't know if this is how anyone is feeling, but it feels like a lot of information to take in all at once. But I just want to stress that you are not alone, and that there will be a team of people the entire time available to help you, to answer any questions. I felt, I don't want to say lost, but I felt a bit confused, and I felt like I had all of this energy and I was so excited about, all of these different things, and I didn't know how to kind of put them together. And, working with Kate, who's my advisor, really helped me kind of hone in on how these two things would play, and essentially think about kind of where it is that I want to end up, like where do I see myself working in 5 years or in 10 years, and kind of like starting that journey and that track. And the best part about it is it's so fun because you really are tailoring a program to you. It almost feels like illegal information to have. It's like, wait, no, I'm creating my own degree. Like that seems like and again, it's fun, and you're working with a mentor, and you're really putting together courses that are going to help you be the best version of you, and pair together whatever, two or even, some people don't have multiple AOCs, but it's a really special way of going about it. And so that's how I created my concentration.
Great. Oh, thank you. Thank you for sharing that this was a process. It's easy to see Royce all put together, knows really what he's doing, but we see you are sort of supposed to start out confused, and you figure it out and get better and more specific as you grow your major. So that's all part of the process.
Okay, so I will talk a little bit about applying to the program. In the chat is the link to our prospective student website, and you'll see a big button there, apply now to CUNY BA. As Jody already mentioned, all students will eventually transfer to a four-year school. However, you can start while you're still a BMCC student, and you can be accepted to our program while you're completing your associate's degree at BMCC. And as also mentioned, we'll take in up to 68 credits and apply them toward your degree for general education requirements and prerequisites and other sorts of things. But once you're ready to transfer to a senior college, you'll do that through cuny.edu. You will just choose any major of interest when you apply to on the CUNY transfer application. You won't see CUNY BA as an option there. You will apply to us separately, like I said, on our prospective student website. Clicking that button, it's very simple. You just put in your information. You'll put a personal statement describing yourself and your goals. As you see, you'll explain to us, why are you interested in this field of study? What are your plans for the future? And why can't this be completed at your home college? Why do you need to use CUNY BA and the resources of the entire university to complete your goals, your academic and professional goals? Then you're going to list your one or two areas of concentration, your customized majors that you're interested in with a working title. And you'll list, as Jody said, 6 courses if you're doing dual concentrations, a minimum of 6 and 6, or 8 courses for a single concentration. And just to reiterate a little bit, you are going to list intermediate or upper level coursework. And we will count intro courses, and we know what we expect you'll take them, and they'll count toward electives and liberal arts credits and other types of things. But when you list the courses on your application, you're going to list the things that build upon the first year or so of study in general. So like 300, 400 level coursework, sometimes 200 level coursework. This is also, besides the resources that you see, Jody, myself, and Flora, in terms of answering these types of questions, you will see on the application itself that it's very clearly laid out, where you'll see where to put you'll put the college you're thinking of taking coursework at, the department, the course number, and then name of the course. So you're not going to get, and I know it's a little bit overwhelming, like Roy said in the beginning, to hear all this information, but everything is very clearly laid out in the application, and you have us as resources as well. And Okay, so also we have a worksheet to help you think about why you're choosing each course you're selecting for your concentration. So you'll see here you can put the campus and the course number, the course title. You'll put a little bit of the description and a link, and then think about why are you choosing that course for your proposal. Do your best to think about how all the courses you're selecting work together and then also fit within the umbrella of the working title that you're choosing. And also, don't worry. Flora is our application coach. If you need some preliminary coaching, you want to have some feedback on how your first draft concentration looks like, she can give you that kind of feedback. And also, even if you decide to just go ahead and submit the application without doing the application coaching, Jody will review it. She might decide, okay, seems okay. Maybe one course isn't quite appropriate. We'll fix this later, because when you apply to the program, you're giving us still a first draft, your kind of best ideas, your first ideas of how you want to propose your concentration. It will be revised later. All students in the program will eventually have a faculty mentor, or possibly two faculty mentors, and they're the subject matter expert in those areas. So if you're doing something in psychology, like the cross-cultural psychology, you'll have a psychology professor. They'll look at what you initially proposed. Their job is to revise it with you, sit with you and revise it, make sure it's academically valid. It's gonna meet your career goals and educational goals. So don't get stuck on the application worrying, or if I do something wrong, we're not going to accept you. We will give you plenty of opportunities to revise it. And again, even when we accept you into the program, we are expecting it's going to go through a second revision process. So don't stress about the concentration. We're here to help, and you'll have many chances to do that.
Oh, that's great.
Okay.
Thanks for that, Peter. And he's somebody you'll be corresponding with if you write to the admissions email as well. Did have one other tip for you, which is I highly recommend the CUNY Academics Program page. It clusters all the majors and types of coursework that's available at CUNY, and you can click down on one of these clusters. For example, environmental studies and sustainability, which will include things like health and human services and other clusters. And hey, look, unique and interdisciplinary studies is there. That's us. So you can choose a cluster and look at all the CUNY colleges that offer majors there, minors there, and courses. And so that will give you a good idea of the types of courses, subjects, and disciplines that might be related to your interests and that are available at CUNY and at which college. So if you're interested in film production, as one of our students is, you could look at related majors, and that would help give you an organized look at the kinds of courses and departments at CUNY. So you can think of your concentration, you sort of know what you want to do, like Royce, and you find courses for it. Another way is you find courses that you like that are interested in, and you find the ways that they connect. And that can often help you create a coherent application. We'll also encourage you to find some courses that help you connect across your different courses, like a capstone or a research project or an independent study. We don't have to get into that now, but also we'll encourage you to do internships, again, research and things like that to help you connect your experiences from the classroom into real life. Um, we also have a special opportunity for students to get, it's called a 4+1, in that if you're a full-time student, it would take you only one additional year to get a master's program. And I won't go deep into this, but if you have questions, we can come back to this. But the great thing about it is between 12 and 18 credits of graduate coursework that you can take as an undergraduate will apply to your undergraduate degree and also towards a graduate degree. And so we have those programs, three programs right now in liberal studies, public health, and journalism. And once you graduate, your diploma will read the CUNY Baccalaureate, and your title that you've created and has gone through the approval process with us will appear on your transcript. So next steps, plan your home campus transfer when you're ready for that. if you'd like to speak with our application coach, Flora, if you want to come in and talk about drafting and how to talk to you.
Sure. Hi, everyone. So as Jody and Peter mentioned, I am the application coach in the program, which means that I'm basically here to help you at any stage you're in the application. And that can be either you just heard about the program and you're wondering if this is the right thing for you, or whether this makes sense in your academic and personal journey. I'm happy to help you sort of be a sounding board and think together about whether CUNY BA is the right fit. Or you're in the process of putting together your application and you want to talk about, which courses make sense or how do I write my personal statement. I'm happy to talk and sort of coach you through that application process. Or you're at the very end of your application and just before you send it to admissions, you just want to have another pair of eyes look over it. I'm also happy to give you feedback. Or talk through some maybe specific questions that you might have about your situation, etc. So you can send me an email. I'll drop my email into the chat. But you can also sign up for my coaching hours, which are on Tuesday afternoons. And those are sort of half-hour sessions where we meet one-on-one on Zoom and we talk through the progress of your application, about your questions. I can connect you to important resources that you might not know about or connect you to current students. So I do this with students every week and they find it really helpful to have this kind of guidance in an application process that's maybe different from the kinds of applications that you've written so far. So I look forward to hearing from you. I'm here for any questions or anything you want to check in with me about. And by the way, the people who are in the room who are interested in arts, I'm also a PhD student in art history. So I happen to know a thing or two about art-related careers. So I'm happy to talk with those people specifically, but I can help people who want to do any kind of concentration, figuring out how to put this application together. All right, let me post those things into the chat and hand back to Jody.
Great. Thank you so much, Flora. And again, in case you came late, you also have Peter Altman, our admissions coordinator, to help answer your questions. You will find a faculty mentor, but that comes a little bit later in the process. So that's not something you have to worry about now. We'll have workshops. And really, again, it does sound like a lot of information, but we're going to walk you through step by step through this process. So it's up to you now. What would you do with your CUNY BA if you could create any degree and sort of break out of the box and think outside of the box? Peter noted that one of the other advantages of the special graduate programs that CUNY BA has access to is that you pay undergraduate tuition for graduate level coursework, which is really, really amazing. At our email, you can reach us at admissions@cunyba.cuny.edu, or we have a general inbox at general@cunyba.cuny.edu.
There was a question in the chat about how do you find intermediate or advanced courses for the concentration?
Great question. So first of all, if it's a course that's not going to say introductory, in general, usually an intermediate or advanced course will have a prerequisite in that same discipline. So you might have to take Psych 101 before you take Psych 102. So Psych 102 is presumably more intermediate or advanced. And we can help you sort that as well. But in general, when you look at a major as well, you can see that those are the upper courses. Again, we're looking at just the top 6 or 8 classes you take. So it's fairly advanced up the sort of the scale of depth of expertise.
So do you have a list of unique concentrations other CUNY BA students have taken before?
We
And where would I be
do.
able to access them?
Yeah, on our prospective students page, it's called Proposing My Major. Is that what it's called, Peter?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
you can
proposing your
find.
area. I'm putting it again in the link in the chat there.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and get inspiration. I mean, it's practically impossible to create the same. As you know, different courses are offered every semester, and you might have a different set of CUNY campuses that you want to travel to. But making it your own is important, but we do share those to give you some ideas of what you can do. Start chatting with faculty who teach classes that excite you and, ask about their field. What are the upcoming, hot new areas in this field? And as you discover things that interest you, ask yourself, could I create a major around this?